Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to SkillSharp The Podcast. Today, we're discussing the professional pivot and how that's affecting your career moves.
So Todd, we've come to realize based on the industry trends, what we're seeing in the job marketplace, this kind of constant imbalance between the candidate market and like the employer market. So many people are being laid off, but we can't say at certain levels the same amount of job creation is keeping up with that pace. So that means that there's going to be a lot of people that may not have options and opportunities at the level that they're accustomed. So we were discussing this term professional pivot as almost a mindset that people have to have. It's it's an ability, it's your move, your special move that you're going to need to develop in order to stay relevant in this marketplace. What does professional pivot mean to you, and how do you think it's going to impact the job market moving forward?
Yeah, no, that's a great point because, gosh, so many of our colleagues have been laid off, um, especially in the entertainment field, right? Kind of started with a lot of the streaming companies looking for content. And then once that started to wane, you saw so many recruiters getting laid off from all these major film and TV studios.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how much it has affected the LA job market because so many people in that field got affected. So, um, and then you had the writer strike and you had the actor strike. Even more, you didn't need recruiters. So I just heard of another studio that just laid off a bunch of folks, and the post production teams, right? They got laid off because there's nothing to edit, nothing to put
Right.
in post
Right.
production, right?
Right. That work.
So yeah, so I'm always telling people like you want to prepare yourself. What if your job goes away tomorrow? You know, what are you skilled in doing? And sometimes you just have to take inventory of what skill sets you have and how that's going to be valued in the future, if it will be valued in the future. If it's not, you got to think of some kind of professional way to pivot your way into a function that's actually going to grow. So I always like to take a look at, 3, 4, 5 years ahead. What are some of the growing fields? How can I use my skills to pivot into a new direction? Or maybe it's learning a new skill set. Maybe it's learning AI prompts in a much more efficient manner. Um, as a recruiter, maybe I pivot into a career coach and be more entrepreneurial, not have to work for, a big box retailer, big box company. So I think, yeah, it's always a good idea to keep on taking stock of your career trajectory, what you want to do, and understand the skills that you've attained throughout your career and how you can pivot that to the next big thing.
Yeah, that's great. I think you brought up a couple of points that so a lot of people in the pivot, they don't know how to leverage their current skill set. And to be quite honest, depending on how long they've been doing the job, they don't realize that that's actually an expertise that they have, right? So it's in a lot of people's minds, like the employee mind, what you do is only valuable if you fill a role for a company. And the company pays you, and the company's telling you that is valuable for the time that they're telling you. But if you look at it from an entrepreneur standpoint, you have an expertise. That expertise is leveraged by a lot of different companies and a lot of different industries or functions. And how can I demonstrate to other people that that expertise could be of value to them? So that may be being Sally Inc. or Marvin Inc. And you being able to provide those services and prove to not only other people but yourself that that expertise can actually be like your path to entrepreneurship and really, financial freedom to a certain extent, right?
Multiple streams of income, right?
C- Critical. So you can still look for other jobs. You could still, and the other point I was going to bring up that you said was looking at other trending industries or skill sets, or and then say, hey, I want to actually be this moving forward. I want to be a yoga trainer. But then you have to go build an expertise in that.
Dude, the whole EV transformation, right? Electric vehicles. Uh, you know, how many Elon Musks are there to develop their own car company, right? I heard about this one entrepreneur saw a gap in terms of charging stations.
Mm,
So he developed a company that has mobile charging. So they come out to you, charge your car. Now they have franchises across the country, but they started out with I want to say the Dallas market, but he saw the gap. He saw where there's a lot of uh, concerns about having your vehicle charged, right? So and maybe you don't want to have a charging station at your house. Like I don't. I don't want to pay the 5 grand for an electrician to come out here or whatever it was, and all the equipment. So that think about what the gaps are in a particular marketplace. So the electric vehicle, boom. What's that going to do for charging stations? You always hear about, oh, that charging station's down or whatever, and I can't charge my car to go to work. Call this company, they'll come out to you, charge your car for a certain price.
the AAA of charging. Come on
AAA
now.
charging.
Makes sense. The
You know, Levi Strauss, right? They started out jean denim company because they were providing clothing to all the gold miners back in the 1849 in Gold Rush, California. He served a need. He wasn't going out there mining for gold, or that company wasn't. Levi Strauss wasn't. They're providing all the clothing.
hmm. Those are things to think about because I think again, where people rely too much on the job market and mentally, I think it's just a huge detriment when if someone gets laid off to no fault of their own, and next thing you know, they live a path of trying to get their resume together and applying to jobs online. I was, number one, all of those no's add up, and you start to think of your own value, and you start to blame, and I'm sure that there's some frustration and some other things. So it's just not a healthy process at all. And then think about it. Then once you even get a call or get an interview, are you mentally ready to go in there and sell yourself at your optimum? I don't think so. And so I've talked to candidates, coaching clients on the level of you want to build with small yeses, and you are actually want to demonstrate your skill set amongst they say you want to fish where the fish are.
Mhm.
So you want to be seen amongst a group of people that appreciate your expertise and skill set. So I'll give you three examples. So one, focusing on not job postings, but reaching out to people, whether it be LinkedIn or others, at your target companies, at companies that you really have done research, you love them, you know a lot about them. So why not connect with people and ask them about their jobs? Hey, you're building relationships, and a lot of people would love to connect with you because you love what they do. That's number one. So you're growing your network. Obviously, in that group, it's also joining groups, right? Number two, we used to say the term writer's right. So essentially, if you're a graphic designer and you're not on your own time for no pay creating graphic design, that kind of lets us know your love level for your expertise. Conversely, if you're out there just, hey, I do this for this, and I'm doing this, and I'm offering up all my services, and I'm working on all these different projects, and you're like, you know what? I've done so much work. Let me put together a portfolio. Let me show people what I've been doing. Let me just share it on LinkedIn. Let me just let people know what I do in my free time. You are living your brand. You are now a graphic designer. You're living your brand. You are what you're preaching. And then lastly, I would challenge myself. I would not, so the job is a job description showing what the company needs of you in very generic form. But if you know the value of this role is providing X, provide it. Work on a spec project. Show someone at that company that you've done what they're looking for and let them assess whether it's valuable or not. But either good or bad feedback, it gives you a foundation of building more of your skills. Say, hey, I got to get better. I got to get better at that. Okay, I take your honest and candid feedback. Or if it's good right off the bat, they're going to do a Todd recruiter wise and say, well, hey, we don't have a position for you now, but I'm going to keep you in mind, and maybe you build a relationship for future. All of those are yes oriented functions versus no oriented functions. So that's really a key for a lot of people looking at their professional pivot.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because if it's something that's of interest for you and you see a gap at the company that you work at, just do it. You know,
They call it entrepreneur. I hate that term,
entrepreneur.
but be an
Yeah,
entrepreneur inside of your business
right.
now. Love it.
Just just do it. All they can say is no. It's on your free time. But, that's part of your portfolio now. I was talking to a graphic designer and his portfolio wasn't really put together all that great. I go, "Th- that is your uh, entryway to conversation starters by having a succinct portfolio of your skill sets. And it doesn't have to be a graphic designer; it could be anything, right? But it's a shortened version of your resume, what you can do for a company. But if you don't have it in your role, just be an entrepreneur and just figure it out. Just do it, as the Nike commercial says. Hearing about one's experience and the relevancy to their career trajectory
Hmm.
is key.
To define that though a little
And
bit
what I
more.
mean by that is as you, in your chosen field, you start to accrue different types of experience to make you successful in that particular role.
Okay.
I'm hiring people not just because they say they have the skills, but I want to see the trajectory in areas that they're gaining responsibilities in. And all those experience are uh, the foundation of what I'm hiring that person for. In other words, I'm hiring that person because of their knowledge, years of experience in a particular field. I need them to provide solutions to our company, not just people who can check a box. So I want to see how their career trajectory is and where it's going and make sure that this next role is in line with that, in sync with that.
Hmm.
Um, just because I feel like during the interview process, it's basically a competition, right? The top 10 candidates get the interviews and then it gets narrowed down to the one. There's only one gold medal winner, right? In a search, right? So in order for you to compete, you've got to be able to show your value for that particular role. Let's say it pays $100,000. I want to get $200,000 worth of value out of that person.
So in closing, like what are the top five things that you would want people to understand about their professional pivot so they're prepared for what's to come in the either current or near future?
Yeah, good question. I think big part of that is, having a specific vision of what your career, what you want your career to look like.
Hmm.
So identify the opportunities, not in here and now, but what's going to be hot in 4 to 5 years. Um, Also, expect to have setbacks. Not everybody's going to be on the same program as you. So just know that if your vision is, if you have a clear vision, just to kind of stay on that path. And also, things can change. So you have to be adaptable. Maybe you have to tweak your vision here and there. But the more conversations you have, the more learning that you have. And that's going to allow you to be a little bit more, I guess, being able to take on more risk. So just embrace the uncertainty because it all goes to the learning process. And then once you kind of coalesce that, make sure you can actually communicate your ideas. It helps inspire others. So that's the way you start to gain customers, clients.
Hmm.
So all along that journey, you can help build relationships by having a particular vision, knowing that you're going to have setbacks, be adaptable because you might have to tweak your vision, and then be able to communicate that to your audience.
Excellent. Excellent feedback. Everyone should listen out for future episodes on professional pivoting. We will have a professional pivot series where we will be focused on all levels, your, executives and more seasoned or mature, professionals that are out there having to deal with layoffs or other job uncertainty, emerging professionals or people that are at the stage of trying to figure out what trending areas they should be in. And then obviously for Gen Z and Alpha and recent grads, how are they launching their careers? What should they be going after? And how should they be looking at the new world of work and the creator economy? So those are things that we at Skillsharp look to provide, and we welcome your feedback.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to SkillSharp. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And always remember, stay sharp.